guys? It's Tobey'S Talkshow. This is episode number 24, and today we are going to be talking about the NBA once again. So, I am still in quarantine, just like most of you guys are, and that means that sports are still not back on, which stinks. The NBA is not back, the NFL might not start on time, the MLB season didn't start on time. I think the only sports that are happening right now are UFC had an event, and I know there's a golf Peyton Manning and Tom Brady event, but still no basketball after I think more than 2 months already, which is crazy. But today we are talking about me predicting the NBA awards. You guys liked the predicting video last week, and so I thought I'd do another NBA predicting video. And today we are going to predict who I think, because it's probably still will be awarded, who I think will win the 2019-2020 NBA awards. So even if the season doesn't continue due to COVID-19, I believe the NBA, since there were 66-ish games played, and all the awards are regular season awards besides Finals MVP, I think they're still going to give the awards no matter what. So I think it's cool that we can predict them even if the season doesn't continue, and if it does, we have to find out if I was correct or not. So let's get right into it with probably the least popular award and least talked about award, but still a very prestigious award, and that is Executive of the Year. So the Executive of the Year award goes to pretty much the front office that made the best moves this year, and usually the front office that wins has a top 3-4 record in their specific conference. So usually this award goes to the president of the team, but it is like a front office award, like you guys all together did this. So I do have a few people in mind. Lawrence Frank for the Clippers. I think he has a chance to win it. Bringing in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, trading away Gallinari and Shea. Even though Shea is going to be a great player, if you're going to get Kawhi and Paul George, you're going to take that every time. And the Clippers are the 2 seed in the West right now. And they were the 8th seed last year, so they definitely improved as a team thanks to Lawrence Frank and the moves he made last offseason, I would say now. So Lawrence Frank, I would say, is in consideration. I will tell you guys who I think should be considered for the award and who I think will win. But for me, the winner of the award should be Pat Riley. And the reason why I say Pat Riley is just because the number of moves this guy made this year, or this offseason, or last offseason, however you want to say it, is incredible to see how he changed his team so much. He drafted Tyler Herro at 13. He landed Jimmy Butler in free agency, and they didn't even have cap space. They had to do a sign and trade, and he somehow pulled that off. He cleared the way for Bam Adebayo's breakout by getting rid of Hassan Whiteside. He signed Chris Silva, who played pretty well. He's not getting that much time since they do have a very deep roster, but it's still great. He traded for Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder. He got, at least something for Justice Winslow, who's been injured a lot. He re-signed Andre Iguodala. Don't forget about Kendrick Nunn last April, and Duncan Robinson also in April. They were both signed to the team last April. So those were so many moves Pat Riley had made, which is crazy, and that's why I think he deserved the award. And don't forget the Heat are also in the playoffs. The last few years the Heat haven't been a great team, but now with Jimmy Butler leading the way, and I think they are the 4 seed, they are looking like a very strong team in the East, and they maybe can win or make the Eastern Conference Finals at least. They do have a shot, especially since they beat the Bucks already this year. So Executive of the Year, Pat Riley. The Heat really turned it around this offseason. Good for them. So the next award we're going to talk about is Defensive Player of the Year award. So the Defensive Player of the Year award is strange because even though it seems so simple, like who was the best defender, there are a lot more aspects than just looking at blocks and steals and saying, okay, this guy had 3 blocks, let's give it to him. So in consideration, I have Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Rudy Gobert. So let's first talk about Rudy Gobert. So Rudy Gobert did average 2 blocks and 0.8 steals. And Rudy Gobert is the back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year award the last 2 years, so he's won it in the last 2 years. And even though I hate to play this card, I don't think they're going to give it to someone like Rudy 3 years in a row, especially because I think 2 other people deserve it more than him. So for me, he's third. I think he had a great defensive year, which is why he's in consideration. But he kind of regressed a little bit with blocking, and I don't think he was as strong defensively all around as he usually was these past 2 years. So that is why he is not winning the award for me this year. Anthony Davis, he had a great year. Don't get me wrong. He's always been very good at defense, but this year it seemed like he figured it out. I don't know, maybe something just like clicked because he seems like one of the best defenders in the league now. He was always the top defender, but now it seems like he's either one or two, especially since he's so big and lanky. He averaged 1.5 steals this year and 2.5 blocks. Really good stats. I feel like he was able to cover, the 3, 4, or 5 if needed. Obviously, guards are a little harder for him, but I think he had a great year defensive wise. And with Giannis, even though Giannis only averaged 1 steal and 1 block, if you guys look into the deeper statistics, which I won't talk to you about, but if you guys look into that, you could tell how much Giannis, changed the game defensively wise. Because Giannis is someone who could guard the 1 to 5. It's really crazy. I'm not scared if I'm a Bucks fan. I'm not scared if Giannis is on the point guard for the team or the center. Giannis is, he's one of these guys where he's positionless, and that's what the NBA is turning into. Where you want these guys like Zion, who he doesn't really have a position. He could play a lot of positions. LeBron, Giannis, all these guys that could play positionless basketball. Luka Doncic, and some of these guys who are the MVPs of the league, like Giannis was last year. These guys aren't just doing this on the offensive end, but also doing it on the defensive end by being able to guard all 5 positions on defense while also being to play all 5 positions on offense. That's why Giannis is so dominant in this league. That's why he's so good. That's why he is definitely in consideration for the MVP. We'll talk about that later. Don't want to give it away. But my defensive player of the year is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think Anthony Davis would be right up there. I just think when you look deeper into it, into the analytics, the deeper defensive statistics, and also by seeing him what he does on the floor defensively for the Bucks. You could look at the Bucks defense when he's on the court and off. All these other deeper stats. If you guys want to, please look into it. But that is why Giannis is my defensive player of the year. The next award I will be giving out is Sixth Man of the Year award. So the 3 people in consideration are Mo Harkless, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, and Dennis Schroeder. So 2 of these guys are on the same team, and 2 of these guys have been nominated for this award. This isn't their first year being nominated in Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell. They have both been studs for the Clippers these past few years. Montrezl Harrell this year averaged 18 and 7. Lou Williams averaged 18, 5, and 3. I think it's tough. Lou Williams had a great year once again. Pretty much around the same type of stats he had last year when he won it. Montrezl Harrell, he went up in 2 points. He increased in most of his stats. And Dennis Schroeder, he went up 3.5 points. He averaged 19 points this year, 4 assists, 3.5 rebounds. I love Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell, but in all honesty, I'm gonna have to give this award to Dennis Schroeder. His efficiency has gone up a lot. He's been a lot more of an efficient player. One of his knocks was that he was inefficient. But he went from 34% to 38% from 3 this year, 41% to 47% from the field. He went up 3.5 points. So to me, averaging 19 points off the bench, which is the most out of the 3 players, and just being overall got better, efficiency-wise, statistics also, stats-wise. So this award, especially also because the Thunder are the 5th seed, and he is a big part of that. I don't think the Thunder would be where they are without Dennis Schroeder. So we have to give credit to the man. He's had a great season behind Shea and Chris Paul. And yeah, that is why Dennis Schroeder, in my opinion, will win Sixth Man of the Year award this year. The next award is the Most Improved Player award. And I actually have 4 considerations for this award, and that is Brandon Ingram, Bam Adebayo, Devontae Graham, and Luka Doncic. However, I want to say that I'm only going to do 3 for each, unless there's a specific reason. And for this reason, I just want to say that I think Luka Doncic definitely deserves it, but I am predicting who I think will win, not who I think deserves it. So Luka Doncic is in here not because I think he has a real chance, even though he's had an amazing season at top. He's an MVP caliber player. He had an MVP caliber season this year, averaging 29, 9, and 8 after averaging 21, 7, and 6 last year. So you could see he improved so much. But the voters don't like to give it to second-year players because you are still growing in the league and you are going to get better in your first few years anyway, and people know that. So they like to give players who maybe had a rough start and then improved, which is the point of the award. So I understand. And even though I'm saying Luka Doncic probably deserves it the most, I don't think he will win it, and we are going based off who I think will win it. So Luka Doncic, great year, not going to win it though. So our three real candidates are Brandon Ingram, Bam Adebayo, and Devontae Graham. So Devontae Graham kind of came out of nowhere this year. The Hornets were supposed to be the worst team in the league. They didn't really have another guard. Malik Monk was good but not great. He was injury prone. And all of a sudden Devontae Graham came out and he started averaging. And this season he averaged 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 7.5 assists compared to the 4 points, 1 rebound, and 2.5 assists last year. Obviously he averaged 20 more minutes a game this year, but that's still great to see him go from 4 points to 18 points, 1 rebound to 3 rebounds, and 2 assists to 7 assists. So he obviously improved greatly, but we still have 2 other candidates to look at. So I don't want to give away who I think will win yet. So let's move on to Bam Adebayo. So Bam Adebayo was behind Hassan Whiteside for a long time. We all know the story. He was drafted, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, and he was the 6th man for a while, and you saw the potential, but for some reason he wasn't starting with the sign there. And I know a lot of people thought, okay, once he gets his opportunity, he will show why he's good, and that's exactly what happened this year. Once Hassan went to the Trailblazers, he went from 23 minutes per game to 34 minutes per game, and is averaging 16, 7, and 10 compared to the 9, 7, and 2 he averaged last year. And he also went up from 0.9 steals to 1.2 steals and 0.8 blocks to 1.3 blocks. So Bam has obviously improved. He was an all-star this year. You have to remember that. That's pretty impressive. And so now let's move on to Brandon Ingram before I start giving my analysis on who I think deserves to, or who I think will win. Brandon Ingram was on the Lakers last year. He averaged 33 minutes a game, which is a lot, and he was averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And he was traded to the Pelicans this year in the Anthony Davis trade, and people thought this was his time to break out. And that's exactly what he did, pretty much averaging the same amount of minutes per game, but instead averaging 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. So this is tough because, Devontae Graham is someone that came out, but he still is a youngish player. He was in the G League, but he's still young. Same with Brandon Ingram, same with Bam Adebayo. But for me, what I take away the most from the Most Improved Player award is, if you're going to get more minutes, you most likely will score more, have more rebounds, have more assists. But if you're going to get the same minutes per game and do better than you did last year, that shows that you really are improving. Maybe next year Bam Adebayo averages the same stats he has last year because now he's going to play that same amount of 34-ish minutes per game. Then we know he didn't really deserve Most Improved. At least that's how I look at it. So for me, I like to see, who improved the most, if they were given the same amount of time. And, Brandon Ingram did that. He was really the only thing that changed. The only thing that stayed constant was his minutes per game. And so the fact that he improved in pretty much every single statistic with the same amount of minutes per game is really impressive, especially the points. Brandon Ingram was an all-star this year. He was a stud, and that's why I have him winning Most Improved Player. And, Brandon Ingram, Bam Adebayo, they still might improve. I'm not saying that they won't. Nothing towards Bam, nothing towards Devontae. But how I like to see it is the fact that he was given the same minutes and he averaged more in every stat is pretty impressive, and that is why I think he deserves Most Improved Player. The next award is Coach of the Year award. So the Coach of the Year award, you can't really look at statistics for this one. Obviously, you can look at their record and stuff, but you can't look at statistics as you can with other awards to help you. So for me, I like to look at the Coach of the Year award and see, not only who improved the most, because that's not all that matters. Also, who's had one of the best seasons this year, given the circumstances that they had. So for my 3 candidates, I have Frank Vogel, coming into a new situation and bringing the Lakers to the first seed in the West and the second best record in the whole league. Obviously, Anthony Davis came in, but still it is impressive that he brought the Lakers. They were the 9th seed last year, and now they were the first seed, and he had to get used to his whole new system and all the new players. The next coach I have is Taylor Jenkins for the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies were supposed to be literally the 15th or 14th seed. I think most analysts predicted them to be a bottom 2 seed in the West. and they're the 8th seed right now. Obviously, the season may not continue, but the fact that they are the 8th seed and in the playoffs right now with a very young roster is really impressive, and you have to give Taylor Jenkins a lot of credit for that. So the last coach I have is Nick Nurse. So the reason why I have Nick Nurse here is because the Raptors lost Kawhi Leonard, and they really only gained, I think, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Terrence Davis in the offseason. If I'm forgetting someone, please excuse me. But they still have the second best record in the Eastern Conference and the third best record in the whole league. And they're pretty much at the same record, I believe, as they were last year with Kawhi Leonard. So you do have to give a lot of credit. Obviously, Pascal Siakam is improving, but it's still really impressive, and you do have to give the Raptors a lot of credit, and especially Nick Nurse a lot of credit for that. So who I think deserves the award the most is the Raptors. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at the Lakers, Frank Vogel, he got Anthony Davis this offseason, so they improved as a team, I believe. The Grizzlies, John Morant is a lot better than, a lot of people thought he would be at first. Obviously, a lot of people had high expectations for him in his whole career. But he has done wondrous things this season that no one expected him to really do. He was an absolute animal this year and played really, really well. And so, if John Morant didn't play as well, I think the Grizzlies wouldn't be in that particular situation. Obviously, Taylor Jenkins, I think, is a reason for John Morant's success, or the grand success he has, but it's not the full reason. But the fact that the Raptors, without Kawhi, losing the superstar that carried them basically to the finals last year, was the main reason they won the finals last year. And they are still in contention to make the finals this year and are the third best record in the league, really only gaining. It's pretty much like they traded away Kawhi for Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Terrence Davis, and the fact that they still have the same record is really crazy. Even if Pascal Siakam improved a little bit, that still isn't. You're still losing a superstar in the league in Kawhi Leonard, and so for that reason, the fact that they're being so successful still. And they had so many injuries this year. I completely forgot how many injuries. I know Marcus Gasol, which hurt a lot. Serge Ibaka, Kyle Lowry. They had plenty of injuries, and they still stuck with it, and they still are a top team in the league. So, Nick Nurse, congratulations. I think you'll win Coach of the Year. The second and last award we have today is Rookie of the Year. So this is a debate. And, I said that I usually will have 3 nominees. But in this case, well, I do. I have Zion, John Morant, and Kendrick Nunn. But we all know we could get rid of Kendrick Nunn. He is definitely not in contention. The only person that's really in contention is John Morant, unless, the judges think that the 19 games Zion played proved to everyone that he deserves Rookie of the Year. And so I'll explain how I see it and who I think deserves it, and I'll also say who I think won, or who I think will win. But I also want to talk about who I think deserves it, because obviously this is a debate, and I do want to talk about this since, this has been a debate for the past few months since Zion has returned and has been destroying the whole league, basically. So, John Morant averaged 17 and 7 this year with 3.5 rebounds. He had an amazing year, and he really brought the Grizzlies franchise back from being one of the worst teams in the league to being in playoff contention, and they probably will be, a future contender in the next few years when John Morant, Jaren Jackson, Dillon Brooks, when they all start to improve more and more since they are still very young, that team could be very good. And then you have Zion Williamson, who, is out for most of the year with his knee injury. But when he did play in the 20 games, the Pelicans were a lot better of a team. And he averaged 24, 7, and 2 on 60% field goal and 46% from 3, even though he only took like 15 threes. So, you don't look at percentages that much. But Ja averaged 50% field goal and 37% 3. How I see it is, I don't think Zion deserves to win it, and not because of his stats. Because if Zion played 82 games this year, or 68 games, whatever, depending on if the season continues or not. If Zion played the whole season, I will say, I don't think it would be close. I think Zion would completely have the award in the bag. I think it would be the same situation as last year, where people are rooting for Ja just like they were rooting for Trae Young, but everyone knew kind of, it was Luka Doncic's award, and he really deserved it. But this situation is different because this year Zion only played 19 games. 19 games for me is not enough games to tell me if this is what you're going to do on a daily basis, or if this was just a hot streak you had. For me, it's not enough games, it's not enough information, and for that reason, I can't see Zion winning the award, just like when Joel Embiid didn't win the award, even though he was a lot better than Malcolm Brogdon, and everyone knew it. Don't get me wrong. We all knew that Joel Embiid was a better player than Malcolm Brogdon. But we knew that, Joel Embiid didn't play that many games, and so we couldn't really give him that award because he didn't deserve it because he didn't show us if, those games were a fluke or not, even though we kind of knew if he, his talent, where his talent would be in the future. For me, Zion, I don't think he deserves to win it, even though he had a great season. Obviously, if we're talking about who's going to have the better sophomore year, I think Zion will, just because I think Zion is so dominant and he'll be one of the best players of the decade, most likely. But to me, I think Ja Morant deserves this award for those reasons. And if I had to predict who I think will win the award, I think the judges will think the same as me. 19 games isn't enough to tell. And for that reason, I have Ja Morant. I predict Ja Morant to win, and I think Ja Morant also deserves it. Lastly is the probably most controversial award, or most talked about award besides Rookie of the Year. It also is a very controversial award because no one understands how they vote for the players. Because if this award, was designed to actually be awarded to the player that deserves it every year, LeBron would have 15 of these awards, and that is, of course, the Most Valuable Player award. So in this case, there were a lot of great players this year, but if the NBA season were to, end right now, there would only be two candidates, and that is Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James. So, Giannis is here again. That's kind of crazy because I know there have only been two people. I know one of them's Hakeem. I forgot who the other one is, but two people that have won the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year award in the same season. I think it might be Michael Jordan. I think I'm not 100% sure. But Giannis was definitely the more straight path one, where I would say that he was more consistent and he consistently had these 30 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists games that he was having. It seemed like he was doing that every single night, and he just seemed so dominant. And he's still 55% from the field, and his 3-point shot definitely got better, went up 5% this year. But LeBron, at the end of the season, he was pushing really hard for the award. He beat the Clippers and Bucks in one weekend, and he started averaging 25, 8, and 10, and his team was the best team in the league besides Giannis's team, the Bucks. So really, you could look at the records, but the Lakers and Bucks were right there record-wise, basically, even though the Bucks, did have a better record than the Lakers, but their records were right there. So I'm not gonna act. They were both the first in their conferences. And it would be different if, one team was in the other conference because they would play that conference more. So for me, I'm not going to really look at the records. I'm going to look at the stats and when I watched them play, because I did watch both of them play throughout the season, who I thought deserved it. And throughout the year, who I think, listening to the NBA, listening to analysts, watching games, who I think really deserves it. Because this is the most prestigious award. So Giannis, like I said, averaged 13, 14, and 6, 1 steal, 1 block. And LeBron averaged 26, 50% from the field, 35% from 3, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, and half a block. This is really tough. They both definitely have the games played enough to win it. There's definitely no injury risk, even though Giannis played 57 games and LeBron played 60. And this is really tough. Like I said, they both were really dominant this year. Like I said, there wasn't even a third nominee. That's just how dominant they both were, and how valuable to the teams they both were. I thought, at the beginning of the season, maybe Anthony Davis had a chance. But, if I had to pick who was the most valuable player this year out of Anthony Davis, LeBron, it would be LeBron, no doubt. This is a really tough decision, I have to say. But I think what separates the two is, I think Giannis was a lot more dominant this year, even though he didn't shoot the 3 as well. And then on the defensive side, even though, he's not, as great as passing, he's probably not offensively well-rounded as LeBron. Obviously, he's probably offensively more dominant at this point in their careers. But, all around, I would give it to LeBron. But the defense from Giannis, the amount of defense and how, impactful his defense is on the court, just, I think, takes it over the edge. And that is why I do have Giannis winning, and that's why I predict Giannis to win the MVP this year. All my predictions are who I think will win / who I think the judges will pick, but mostly who I think will win. It's a little bit of a mix. However, Giannis, what he does on the defensive side for the Bucks really just blows him out of the water. Imagine him winning Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. The fact that he's nominated for both is still really special, even if he doesn't win both. LeBron, he's not a terrible defender, don't get me wrong, but Giannis on defense is here, and LeBron is just down here. And obviously, LeBron on offense is probably here, and Giannis is here, though. But that thing's a little closer just because of how dominant Giannis is on offense, even though LeBron is more well-rounded with, passing-wise, etc., etc. So that's all the awards. This was a longish video. I think it will probably come out to be 25, 26 minutes. But I do hope you guys enjoyed. You guys did love the predicting videos last week. So let me know if you guys like these also. Let me know who you think will win MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Six-Man, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. I think that was were the 7 awards I covered. Let me know who you have winning. Let me know, if your favorite player is being nominated for an award, or if you think they will be. Let me know if you think I forgot any people, or you think, maybe Spencer Dinwiddie deserves to be in the Most Improved, or, maybe Kawhi deserves to be, in the Most Valuable Player, in the nomination. So let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and if you're still here, that must mean you enjoyed some part, so please like and subscribe, and turn the notification bell on if you are subscribed to know when I post, because, school is ending, so in the next few weeks, so, the videos might not be every week, it may be every 6 days, every 8 days, every 9 days, so make sure you have those notifications on so you do know when I post videos. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I have a guest on in the next few weeks. I am finding guests as I record this video. I am looking for more guests to record talk shows with and maybe ask them a few questions. And yeah, that's really it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.